here in the forum, including members of the public down the back. Thank you for attending. If you need to leave early, please let me or the governance advisor know. And just a reminder that this first part of the meeting is being recorded. We will start the meeting with a karakia.
Ki tauna mana Te runga ki tēnā whātau Kia mahia te ua ki kihi Kia toi te kupu, toi te mana, toi te ara, toi te reo Māori Kia tuturu, ka whakamala, kia tina, e tai.
Item 1 is conflict of interest declarations. I call on any members to declare any conflicts of interest they may have in relation to the item on the agenda. No conflicts? Okay, right. Apologies. We have an apology from Mayor Johnson and iwi Representative Ron McGrath, and I note.
And Mahirangi's just, she's not able to attend today.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to move the motion that Council accepts the apologies from Mayor Johnson, iwi Representative Ron Tongaroa, and Mahirangi Collins.
I'll take it.
Okay, Gary. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? No. Motion is carried. Items not on the agenda. There are no late items. We'll move through to number 4, confirmation of the minutes. The next item on the agenda is confirmation minutes of the Extraordinary Council meeting held on 29th of April 2026 and noting that they are true and correct record of that meeting. The recommendation is that the minutes of the Extraordinary Council meeting held on 29th of April 2026 be received and confirmed as a true and correct meeting. I will now move the motion. Seconder. Thank you, Councillor Holmes. I now put the motion which has been moved and seconded. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? No. Motion is carried. Reports for decision. 5.1, the Apaki Water Race Statement of Proposal on page 11. This agenda report seeks Council's approval to agree a statement of proposal and consult on the proposal for the future of the Apaki Water Race. I'll hand over to Karen, our Group Manager of Strategy, to present.
Thank you, Chair. Some of this earlier discussion has been held in public excluded, so we're just restating some of the decisions that have been made for the purposes of the public record. So we'll all be aware that the Council made the decision to close the water race 5 years ago, and that was to close it for 30 June this year. That coincided with the expiry of the 4 resource consents that Council has to operate the race. There has been, because of the new changes under the RMA proposed, there was an automatic extension put on to those resource consents by the government, and they automatically extended the resource consents till December 2007. However, Council still had the decision to close on its books and needed to form a view on whether it wanted to continue to close the race by the 30th of June 2006 or to use that the extension on the expiry to December 2027. So Council met and decided that it needed actually more information from ratepayers and users, and so we carried out an exercise and engagement to obtain more information from those users and ratepayers, and that was reported back to an extraordinary meeting this week. And we also have the qualitative analysis from those submissions included attached to the report today, and that consultation proceeds. That will also go up as background information onto our website. So with that information, Council made the decision last week that it would like to formally consult in accordance with the Local Government Act on a proposal to extend the operation of the race to June next year. Not December, but June next year. There's a few reasons for that. So that's what we've included in the statement of proposal, which is attached here for your approval. That will be on the basis that users, ratepayers will continue to be charged the targeted rate to pay for the operation of the race. We've just learnt that there have been 3 requests to be removed from the race. We've provided what our proposed targeted rate would be, and that's also used in the consultation document. I am suggesting that if we do exclude those 3 rated users from being rated next year, then that will have to be amended. That targeted rate is currently in at 0.00155 rate in the dollar, and David Paris will be able to tell us what the new rate is that we will need to include in the consultation document. Did you want to do that now, David?
I haven't calculated that, but it will be 2.25% more.
So is that 6.25?
Yes.
Yep. Just because of the reapportionment that would need to go across all of the other rate users.
I just
Very, very
We'll just
quickly.
get Karen to finish this, and
Very quickly.
then we'll do
finish.
questions.
So there was discussion last week around, in response to the information that was provided back from the ratepayers and the users, there were a couple of proposals in there that council discussed and agreed. So that would be on the basis, so proceeding with the consultation for keeping the race open would be until, I said, June 2027, and not the full automatic extension to December, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Of course, June 27 aligns with the our rating period, and also June 27 is when all of our staff get transferred over new water entity, so we wouldn't actually have any in-house resource within council to be able to continue to maintain and operate the race past June. So that's why we've included that. There was a discussion around some further work that could be undertaken to improve the flow for next summer. That would require a significant amount of work to the Ruahanga River, which would require resource consent. And council discussed whether it was proposed to do that, and then who would pay for that. But council agreed at that point that that it would only continue to operate the race for a further year on the basis of current service levels and current maintenance, and not carry out any additional maintenance, so that ratepayers would not need to pay for that additional. And there were a few reasons for that, because the timing is simply very, very tight in order to be able to obtain a consent within that 1 year period. It would be a very short amount of time, and it would be quite a significant amount of cost.
You said that last part again, Karen? About the time frame?
About the time,
Maybe the last paragraph.
the last regarding carrying out more work.
Just after that, around the time frame about the pressure.
Pressure. So we would be only extending it for 1 year.
Yep.
So we would need to apply for a resource consent, do all the work required for a resource consent, go through the application for a resource consent. There would be then a short amount of time left to be able to carry out the actual work to improve the flow. And then that would be quite a significant cost. So for those reasons, council decided that it would not seek that extra work. And the cost, of course, would then be borne by the ratepayer. The other piece of information, just going to finish and then you can ask, but I'll just clarify that. But the other, of course, the work that's required is actually to move the riverbed. And if we have another significant weather event, then that riverbed could move again and would require more work to be carried out. So just finishing, the other thing that council decided, so there were some suggestions around having a user pays system for that extra year, and officers put their heads together, but there's not really any equitable way that to pay system that would be enforceable. It runs the risk of some, everybody's quite honest, but some may say and not have the intention to use any water and then not pay for it, and then at some point need the water and then take that without having paid for it, and vice versa. So actually rating everybody is the most equitable way of proceeding. I'm happy to take any more questions at this point.
Wairika,
Sure. So thank you, Karen. There were 3 that have decided wanting to opt out. What is the grounds for their decision to do that?
My understanding is that there hasn't been any water in the race for some time, and so it's not one of the ones that is subject to the ebbs and flows and the different weather patterns. If I'm incorrect on that, or if there's any further information I look and know, it feels that's basically it. So we can be quite sure that that part of the race is not going to get any.
So do other people get the opportunity to opt out as well? Is that going to be something that's going to be communicated to the other users on the race?
So I can answer that. So the arm for the water race, that can be separated from the water race. The rest of the water race users, there isn't the ability to be separate. Fix the inquiry.
Okay, so, are those three people beyond the Matahiwi Dam or before?
That's that.
Yeah.
Beyond.
Okay, beyond that.
Well,
Cool, because, I've learnt that, there are about 20 properties that are not getting beyond the Matahiwi Dam, and that's been dry since October.
Not the Matahiwi. Well, I'm gonna point of order on that. It's not a Matahiwi Dam. It's a reservoir where they take allocated water to, and the reason why they're not getting water is because the flow is not coming in from the river. It's as simple as that. And if I wasn't getting water, I wouldn't want to pay the fee either. The other question I've got to ask, are these people at the after Wilton's or not? Because he's cut water off to 3.
Thank you, Dave.
Sorry,
You have a
I
follow-up
wasn't
question?
done. Yes, I do. And so those people that are on the other side of this dam, regardless of who it belongs to, it's the consent was for them to not impede the water beyond the race. And I know that there are people beyond the race who don't want to pay. And Karen, this morning in an email, you said that there are some people who potentially beyond the race that haven't been rated.
So previously,
Yeah.
we have not rated, I think it was this year, and David Harris can perhaps answer that. But
yeah, in 2022, we closed a sub-branch of the race that serviced 4 properties. And it joined back to the other main branch of the race. That branch hadn't been operating for a number of years, and we've stopped rating those properties because they've had no service. Well, the same would occur for the Southey Road properties that have recently applied. The sub-branch has no access to water and is not running and can be closed.
And sorry, again, so those ones who are beyond the dam have said that they've been dry since October. How are we monitoring the levels of water that people are getting, and then why too are they not having the opportunity to not be rated if they're paying for something that they're not receiving since October last year?
So the.
What, come up the front.
And I've got to do Steve and Phil mentioned as well that the monitoring is undertaken at the intake. So in terms of water flow going through into the water race, is what is monitored, not actual flows that get transferred through the water race. And it is understanding that some of those do run dry during parts of the year, even when there is water.
Yeah, cool. Even question. So what is the responsibility of the council to understand that we're taking money from people who aren't actually getting the service that they're paying for?
The service is predicated on the opportunity of the water being available from the water race through the availability of the intake. In terms of the management of the water from the river, that is an engineering issue. And so when there isn't water available, that's simply because the water is so low that water can't physically enter the water race.
And so the water levels, does that still feed into the dam, even though, because I know that they can't take it under, they're not allowed to extract under 2.4? Is that correct?
My knowledge of the dam is very limited. I have to defer to our other staff with any knowledge about the dam itself.
All right, one more question, sorry. In regards to, oh no, it's all right.
Stella?
My question was asked by councillor. Okay.
Brent?
David answered mine.
Tim?
Thanks, Craig. Just with the users, what they're required to do in that 1 year time frame, is that an impossible task in terms of what are they asked to do? They're getting the consent, forming a legal entity, building government capabilities, and just setting up a model. Is that possible within that time frame?
My understanding is that they're pretty ready to go in terms of the turning themselves into an entity that can apply for resource consent. We've assisted the users committee. There is a draft consent, it just needs to be lodged.
So it's a possibility, a distinct.
Absolutely, I understand that it's ready to go. That's the information that.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Now, I just wanted to clarify, Waireka, that the water storage at Matahiwi is allocated in there. They know exactly how much he's getting. So he is allocated so much water over the season.
I understand that. Thank
Okay.
you, David.
Now, I think with regards to the question, I know it's not questions.
Okay.
Well, the question I've got,
Yep.
do we need to go through this process again when we've already got the submissions? I asked it the other day and I got an answer, but I wanted a better one.
You'll have the same one, but I'll be in a public forum this time. Yes, the information that we sought last time was an information gathering exercise to inform council's decision what to do, whether to continue to close or whether to go ahead and consult basically on a proposal. So this consultation, the special consultative procedure, is prescribed under the legislation when you are making a significant decision. And obviously we've had a decision to close it. So now keeping it open and then charging people to keep it open, particularly when we know that there are issues, is a significant decision for those ratepayers that will be asked to pay for it, which is why we have to go through that full consultation process.
In regards to the consultation, is there going to be information about what extra costs are going to be required, or is that, because I mean, how can people make a decision if they don't know how much cost they're going to be up for? And I know there's intervention to the river, there's the installation of potentially a gate. How do they make an informed decision if they don't understand how much it's going to cost them in?
It's going to cost the targeted rate, and whether that's this one in here or whether it's slightly adjusted to remove free out that will be to cover the same amount of maintenance what we've been providing up till now. There will be no further work. There'll be no additional cost to that. And the cost for closure has already been rated for and included within.
Follow-up question?
Yes. So, and for those who are using the race, and they're the ones that we're consulting with, I feel like the information that they need, do you think that the information that they need to make an informed decision should include the potential cost that they're going to be,
It is in
you know, it is in there, okay. Is that the $100,000, the additional?
No.
Or what is that?
That was if there was going to be any more work undertaken
From us.
From us. We're not proposing to do work. So this consultation is for us to continue operating the race, council operating the race for 1 year from June. And we've given assistance to the committee that will get, so basically it's buying the committee another year in order to be able to do what it needs in order to be able to operate the race itself. We can't give any guarantees as to what will happen with the application for the resource consent. That's an application to W, not to us. What model that they operate, what agreement that they have with the users going forward, it's not for us to decide. That's a matter for the users going.
Sorry, one more. Can you please explain in regards to the intervention that the river is going to be required to redirect, because obviously that's going to be a council thing in the future. Is that not? Okay, thank you.
We will just be carrying out the ordinary maintenance now. We have the ability to do some work in the river and around the gate. I'm not quite sure, Phil's not me. But what would be required to make sure that there was better flow for summer is much more significant. But we're not doing that. No one will be charged for that.
Thanks, Craig. I'm not an engineer, obviously, but just in regards to Waireka's question, thank you for clarifying, Tyler, about the reasons why those 3 properties can be taken off. Is there engineering work that could be done by the people operating the race that would make that sort of thing feasible for those who definitely aren't going to be, or say they're not going to extract water? And it's on me. I mean, I should have seen the race. I don't know what the race even looks like. I don't know how big the channel is. I don't know those sorts of things. And I hear Dave sometimes talking about simple engineering and things that can happen when farmers get together and do work. But is that sort of thing a possibility?
Tom?
Broadly speaking, it's a gravity fed system once water is into the tank. And once it's through the intake into the system. And so the ability to have water transferred is really reliant on gravity. So the maintenance is to ensure that water is in there, that gravity is allowed to do what it does. Now, in terms of the sub branch, and cut those off, those don't extend and connect into the other parts of the water race. So they are currently dry and have been dry for a long time. The engineering required to cut off other branches and then deviate the system around those would be significant. Require piping, be a very expensive exercise far beyond the cost of just standard maintenance.
Thank you for your answer.
Any further questions? Gary?
Just wondering, Karen, question regarding the consultation and the people having to submit again. Is it going to be okay for them to use their last submissions, basically?
Absolutely. I was thinking about that today and as to how we could incorporate that in perhaps in the covering email and the letter that we'll send out, as long as they answer and they're not relying on us to interpret their answers previously given around whether they support or not, because we've been very clear. Do you support the proposal? Do you not support the proposal? And provide us with some more information. So as long as they've been really clear in that, then we'll accept that. But I would suggest that it will take 30 seconds to be able to actually complete that consultation on our website. So I really recommend that everyone goes back in the form, just completes that for us, and then it's not leaving anything to chance.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay, no further questions. Then thank you, Karen, for this. The officer's recommendation in the report is that council, 1, agrees to carry out consultation on the proposal for the future of the Aupaki water race in accordance with the Special Consultative Procedure, the Local Government Act 2002. 2, approves the statement of proposal for the future of the Aupaki water race for consultation, as attachment 2. And 3, notes the hearing and deliberations on the future of the Aupaki water race will be held on the 17th of June 2026, and the final decision will be made as part of the adoption of the annual plan 2026-27 on the 24th of June 2026. Do I have a mover?
Should there be 4 about excluding the 3 people by changing the race to exclude those 3 that aren't going?
I think that the property serviced by the race and the setting of the rate based on the land value of the property serviced is part of the administration of the rating system, and defining the properties that are serviced,
Okay,
whether they're in or out, is sort of outside the scope of
that's fine.
the resolution.
I'm prepared to move, Craig.
I second that.
Do you want to put that up?
Yes.
Gary, you moved?
Yeah, I'm
Got a second, yeah.
Indeed, yeah. Thank you.
We just have a slight amendment. Okay, so they've been moved and seconded. Is there any debate? Questions? Not questions. Comments?
Yeah, I'll go comment.
David?
Since our meeting last week, I've spent a lot of time talking to people in Greater Wellington about this. Mention was made last week of could cost up to 140,000 for the consent. Well, I can tell you that already there has been 80,000 spent on consent through SLR. But that consent is not required at this stage because it rolls over until 27. But that's sitting there. I've talked to SLR and Greater Wellington about the inlet. It's a slight tinkering of the present consent will give us access to the river to do the work that's required. So I'll make that a slight pointing of the consent. That's all that required at this stage from the Greater Wellington to do that job. By doing that job, that will give the users permanent security of water. Should be enough water to run through the whole race. And we're always at the lap of the rivers. They change every now and again. And I know for a fact that if a weir is put in, there's rocks there already. There's been a weir in the Wainawa for 8 years and it hasn't been touched. Everybody's happy with it. The iwi are happy with it and they've hardly touched it. It's hardly been any work done on it at all. So I'm delighted that we're going ahead. I have no doubt that the entity that take this over have the resources to run this whole water race. How it's monitored and rated, that's another deal we'll do later. But I've got full confidence in the entity doing it. And I will say it's going to happen sooner than before the end of June next year.
Any further?
I'd just like to say there's a lot of talk going on and a lot of people making statements about the water race, and unfortunately they don't understand it properly. And I want to make that quite clear. If people are going to make comments on the water race or anything to do with council, just make sure your facts are right before you do it.
Just jumping on the point that David just raised. One of the conversations that you may have had, David, was telling some of our Māori within our community that the water race closure would impact the wetlands, which is not true. So maybe you should take your own advice.
Well, can I answer that?
Through the
The wetland I'm talking about is actually fed from the water race.
one last one.
Sorry.
Okay.
And as far as I'm aware, the area, the wetland that they were referring to is actually fed by the Waipawa.
No.
Any further conversation, we have that offline.
Miles away.
Any further discussion before we, Harriet's going to bring up the slight amendment to these recommendations.
See that.
Is Craig on that blind?
Yeah, I know. Can we make it slightly bigger?
Type it first.
David?
You make it bigger.
Just need nothing to make the.
Almost comfortable. Read that out again.
Yeah. Okay.
We all agreed.
So everyone agree to adding that in?
I think it's read it out again, please.
Okay, read the whole form. That council, 1, agrees to carry out consultation on the proposal for the future of the Pākehā water race in accordance with the special consultant procedure, the Local Government Act 2002. 2, approves the statement of proposal for the future of the Pākehā water race for consultation, attachment 2, amending the value for the targeted rate on page 32 of the agenda to account for removing 3 properties from the operation of the race. 3, notes the hearing and deliberations on the future of the Pākehā water race will be held on the 17th of June 2026 and the final decision will be made as part of the adoption of the annual plan 2026-27 on the 27th of June 2026. Now this 24th of June 2026. What did I say?
27.
Okay. Now this was moved by Councillor Caffel and seconded by Councillor Leonard. Are you still happy with that? There being no further discussion, I would like to those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, Motion is carried. Now, we will now move to the publicly excluded part of the meeting. Do I have someone to move? I'll move to go in. David, second it. Thank you very much to the public for your attention.